Wrestling has its icons, but it also has its underrated heroes. Bobby Eaton is one of those guys. Amazing in the ring, but never got the full recognition he deserved. Let's fix that right now and explore his incredible career. Born in 1958, Bobby Eaton started wrestling in the 1970s. He quickly became known for his amazing athleticism and technical skills. He was a natural in the ring, and it wasn't long before he started making a name for himself. One of the things Bobby Eaton is most famous for is being part of the Midnight Express. He teamed up with guys like Dennis Condrey and Stan Lane, and with their manager Jim Cornette, they became one of the best tag teams in wrestling history. They had incredible matches with teams like the Rock and Roll Express, the Fantastics, and the Road Warriors. Bobby was amazing in the ring. He could do it all. He was fast, he was strong, and he knew how to wrestle technically. He was also a really good seller, which means he knew how to make his opponents look good. But even though he was so talented, he never really got the chance to be a top singles star like some people thought he should have. A lot of fans felt that Bobby was underutilized in WCW. He was stuck in the mid-card and never got a real shot at the main event. It's a shame, because he had all the tools to be a world champion. Now, coming to something more serious, substance abuse has always been a serious issue in wrestling, especially during Bobby Eaton's era. The constant travel, physical pain, and pressure to perform took a toll on many wrestlers, and Eaton wasn't an exception. He struggled with alcohol abuse, which created problems for him over the years. There were times when Eaton missed matches he was scheduled to appear in, a big deal in the wrestling world. Showing up is everything, and missing bookings can hurt a wrestler's reputation. While Bobby was known as a kind and friendly person, there were moments when his struggles with alcohol led to erratic behavior, causing tension with other wrestlers and promoters. Even with these challenges, Bobby kept pushing forward and remained dedicated to his craft. One of the more famous stories about Eaton happened during a flight with his tag team, the Midnight Express, and their manager Jim Cornette. The story goes that a passenger on the plane was causing trouble, and things quickly got out of hand. Bobby reportedly confronted the person and even pulled out a knife during the altercation. No charges were filed, but the incident added to the Midnight Express's reputation for being unpredictable and hard to deal with at times. This incident shows just how stressful life on the road could be for wrestlers. With constant travel, tight schedules, and high-pressure situations, it wasn't uncommon for things to escalate. While these moments are part of Bobby Eaton's story, they don't take away from his incredible career. They show that wrestlers are human and face challenges just like anyone else. In his later years, Eaton faced health challenges, including heart problems that required a pacemaker and type 2 diabetes. These issues undoubtedly took a toll on his well-being. But even with all the challenges he faced, Bobby was always a good person. He was known for being kind and generous, especially to younger wrestlers. He was always willing to help them out and give them advice. And he was recognized for his amazing career when he was inducted into the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame in 2009 and the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2019. Sadly, Bobby Eaton passed away in 2021. He was only 62 years old. It was a really tough loss for the wrestling world. He had lost his wife just a month earlier, so it was an especially difficult time. It's believed that he died peacefully in his sleep. Bobby Eaton was a true legend in professional wrestling. He was an amazing athlete, a great tag team wrestler, and a wonderful person. If you're a true fan, make sure you stay for the next segment. To honor his legacy, here is a quick rundown of his epic career. Bobby Eaton grew up in Huntsville, Alabama, where he went to Chapman Middle School and Lee High School. Like a lot of kids back then, Bobby was hooked on professional wrestling. He especially loved the NWA Mid-America promotion, run by Nick Gulas, which brought wrestling shows to Alabama and Tennessee. When he was just 13, Bobby got his first taste of the business by helping set up wrestling rings. A few years later, he trained with the legendary Tojo Yamamoto, and that's where his wrestling journey truly began. At only 17, Bobby made his wrestling debut in May 1976. It wasn't a planned debut. He stepped in last minute to face Bearcat Wright. He lost the match, but people could already see his potential. After that, he became a regular at NWA Mid-America, where he kept learning from the more experienced wrestlers. Fans and promoters quickly noticed Bobby's athletic ability and natural charm, and soon he was being featured in bigger matches later in the shows. One of Bobby's first big storylines was against the tag team, the Hollywood Blondes. With partners like Tojo Yamamoto and Pistol Pez Watley, Bobby went head-to-head with the Blondes, becoming a fan favorite in the process. The storyline even suggested that Bobby was the one who drove the team out of the promotion. This really helped his star rise. Then in 1978, Bobby won his first championship, teaming up with Leapin' Lanny Poffo to win the NWA Mid-America Tag Team titles. It was a short reign, lasting just over a month, but it was a huge moment for Bobby. Later, he teamed up with George Goulas, the promoter's son, to form a tag team called the Jet Set. They had a lot of success, winning the tag titles 3 more times, and even feuding with Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes, who would go on to form the Fabulous Freebirds. Bobby also proved he could hold his own in singles matches. In 1979, he had a memorable feud with Chris Colt, where Colt injured Bobby with a banned piledriver move as part of the storyline. Bobby eventually came out on top, solidifying his spot as one of the top good guys in the promotion. Even though Bobby briefly played the villain, he quickly returned to being a fan favorite. These early years were just the beginning for Bobby Eaton, who would go on to become a true legend in wrestling. Now let's pick up where we left off. Eaton's time with the Continental Wrestling Association and beyond. After Nick Goulas' promotion closed, Bobby wrestled briefly in Georgia, even winning the National Television Championship. But soon he joined Jerry Jarrett's Continental Wrestling Association, CWA, in Memphis, where his career really took off. Teaming with Sweet Brown Sugar, they became the New Wave, a high-flying, exciting tag team. Managed by the colorful Jimmy Hart, they won the AWA Southern Tag Team titles 3 times and became fan favorites. Of course, wrestling loves a good breakup. The New Wave eventually split, and Bobby feuded with Sweet Brown Sugar in an intense rivalry. After a Big Loser Leaves Town match, Sugar was gone, only to return as the masked Stagger Lee. Fans loved the drama, and Bobby's ability to play both the bad guy and later the good guy made him a standout. In 1983, Bobby teamed up with Dennis Condrey to form the Midnight Express, with Jim Cornette as their manager. Bobby became Beautiful Bobby, and together they changed the game for tag team wrestling. Their feuds were legendary, especially against the Rock and Roll Express. These matches were fast, exciting, and filled with drama, making both teams must-see attractions. They also won the Mid-South Tag Team Championship, cementing their place as one of the best tag teams in wrestling. The Midnight Express spent a little time wrestling in Texas, where they had incredible matches against the Fantastics, another fan-favorite team. These battles only added to their growing reputation. In 1985, Bobby, Dennis, and Cornette joined Jim Crockett Promotions, bringing the Midnight Express to a national audience. They quickly made waves, winning the NWA World Tag Team titles and continuing their rivalry with the Rock and Roll Express. When Dennis left, Stan Lane stepped in to team with Bobby, and they didn't miss a beat. They won more championships, including the NWA United States Tag Team titles, and became fan favorites thanks to their teamwork and innovative moves. One of their most memorable rivalries was against the original Midnight Express, managed by Paul E. Dangerously, later known as Paul Heyman. Though their time as a team ended in 1990, the Midnight Express left an unforgettable legacy. Bobby didn't slow down after the Midnight Express ended. In 1991, he became a single star, winning the WCW World Television Championship by beating Arn Anderson. He even had a major match against Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight title, proving he could hold his own as a solo wrestler. Later, Bobby joined Paul E. Dangerously's Dangerous Alliance, one of WCW's top factions. Teaming with Arn Anderson, they won the WCW World Tag Team titles and had some incredible matches, including a classic War Games match at WrestleWar 92. Also, in the early 1990s, Bobby Eaton traveled to New Japan Pro Wrestling, NJPW, to compete with some of the best wrestlers in the world. His first trip was in 1993 during the Explosion Tour, where he teamed up with Tony Hom and took on legendary teams like Hiroshi Hase and Keiji Muto, as well as the Hellraisers, Hawk Warrior, and Power Warrior. Eaton and Hom even challenged the Hellraisers for the IWGP Tag Team Championships, but despite their best efforts, they came up short. Eaton returned to Japan in 1994 for the Fighting Spirit Tour and wrestled both as part of a team and in singles matches. His time in NJPW wasn't about racking up wins. It was about proving himself in a different wrestling environment. Japanese wrestling demanded a unique style, and Eaton rose to the challenge, earning respect from fans and wrestlers alike. His final tour with NJPW came in 1995 during a crossover event between WCW and NJPW. Though his matches didn't end in victories, Eaton's appearances in Japan showed his versatility and passion for the sport. Bobby Eaton returned to WCW in 1993 when Eric Bischoff took charge. He quickly became known for his work in tag teams. Eaton first teamed with a young Chris Benoit, helping establish Benoit during his early days in WCW. Later, Eaton partnered with Steve Kern as part of a team called Bad Attitude. While neither partnership brought major success, Eaton's matches consistently showcased his skill and willingness to help elevate others. In 1995, Eaton found a new direction as part of the Blue Bloods, a team that paired him with the aristocratic Lord Steven Regal. Regal's character was a proper British snob, and the storyline had him teaching Eaton how to be a sophisticated gentleman. Eaton became Earl Robert Eaton, and their dynamic was both entertaining and effective. Together, they feuded with teams like the Nasty Boys and Harlem Heat, even challenging for the WCW World Tag Team Championships. While the Blue Bloods never won the titles, the team became a fan favorite and gave Eaton a chance to show his comedic side alongside his wrestling talent. After his run with the Blue Bloods ended, Eaton transitioned into a quieter role within WCW. He mostly wrestled on smaller shows like WCW Saturday Night, where he continued to compete and help younger wrestlers develop their skills. Eaton also worked behind the scenes, contributing to WCW's training program at the power plant, where future stars learned the ropes. His influence during this time may not have been obvious to fans, but it was significant. When WCW released Eaton in 2000, it didn't mark the end of his wrestling journey. Instead, he returned to the independent circuit, where he found opportunities to work smaller shows and connect directly with fans. Eaton wrestled for promotions like NWA Mid-Atlantic and IWA Mid-South, often appearing in nostalgic matchups with fellow legends. In 2003, he even made a one-time appearance for TNA Wrestling, where he wrestled Kid Cash as part of a storyline celebrating wrestling stars from the 1980s. One of the highlights of Eaton's post-WCW career was reuniting with his former Midnight Express teammate, Dennis Condrey. Together, they brought their iconic tag team back to life, performing on select independent shows and reliving their glory days. Fans who remembered the Midnight Express from their peak years were thrilled to see the duo in action again. Though these appearances were fewer and farther between as the years went on, they showed that Eaton's love for wrestling never faded. By the mid-2010s, Eaton's time in the ring was winding down. In 2015, he faced his longtime rival, Ricky Morton, in a match that felt like a tribute to their decades-long feud. Eaton's final match came in 2016 when he participated in a 15-man battle royal at an event supporting cancer awareness. It was a fitting end to a career defined by hard work and passion. Bobby Eaton may not have been the most talked-about wrestler in the business, but his contributions were immense. He was a master of tag team wrestling, known for his incredible timing, precision, and ability to make every match look great. Wrestlers and fans alike respected Eaton not just for his skill, but for his humility and kindness. His time in New Japan Pro Wrestling, his work with iconic teams like the Blue Bloods, and his dedication to the independent scene all showed how much he loved the craft. Eaton's career reminds us that you do not need to be the biggest star to leave a lasting impact. His legacy lives on as an example of what it means to truly love and respect the world of professional wrestling. And that's the incredible journey of Bobby Eaton, a true unsung hero of professional wrestling. From his days in Japan to his time in WCW and the independent circuit, Eaton proved that hard work, dedication, and love for the sport could create a lasting legacy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more wrestling stories like this one. Who's your favorite underrated wrestling legend? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.